Hi, this is Joseph Arthur. Thanks for checking out Come to Where I'm From. Please support us on Patreon, patreon.com/come to where I'm from. We are an independent podcast, and any contributions you can make are greatly appreciated. Today's episode is Ted Allen from Chopped.
How do you know that?
We did research.
Oh, you did research?
Do you like
Yeah.
dogs if you have 3 cats?
What's that?
Do you like dogs if you have 3
I
cats?
love dogs.
I have a dog.
What kind?
I have a Capuchon, and his name is Louie.
A what?
Capuchon.
I don't think I know that breed.
They're like
There you go.
Cool, man.
a Capuchon
Okay.
is a Cavalier and a Pigeon.
Oh, right. Cool. That's cool. How can I?
We need to get Carmen on camera, too.
I am. I'm right there.
She is? Okay, great.
Her name is Karma.
Carmen.
Carmen.
But you call her Karma. I would too.
I didn't mean to, but that's actually a good nickname.
You know what? It's not half bad.
It is not half bad.
But
You might
no,
be the youngest podcaster in podcast history.
I think that's true. There should be a prize for that. No, I love dogs. I would get one, except it would freak out my cats too much. I think they're kind of fragile. My cats are enormous. Because they're Maine Coon cats. I have the 2 boys are each 20 pounds. It's a pretty big cat.
They're raccoon cats?
Maine Coon
Wait,
cats.
20-pound cat?
Uh-huh.
I've never seen a 20-pound. That's big.
But
Wow.
it's normal for it's a large breed. But anyway.
I would get a dog, but then I would have to think about something other than myself.
Well, you almost got a dog.
You know what I mean?
Might mess up your craft.
I mean, it would just like really cramp my style.
Yeah, and you gotta walk around in the wintertime and pick up what
Dog
they
crap.
put out.
Yeah.
That's why the other reason I don't want one.
Yeah, I have to do that anyway, just with interpersonal relationships.
Yeah, you do what you got to do in this life,
Right?
right?
Yeah, it's either that or total isolation.
Which could work for you, I would imagine, in your
Yeah.
line of work.
Yeah. So many things I want to talk about with you. One of them is one of the main things I'm thinking about talking with you about is Noel versus Liam. That seems like a really good conversation.
Oh, I have a funny story about
the way
that.
he lit up right then. I knew it. I
had no idea.
Oh no, because he's a major music
Yeah,
head.
we were talking
Like,
about
and-
music just before you came.
Yeah.
He is going to the Stones. At,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm finally going to see the
Nightlife
Stones.
Stadium.
By the way, your voice, because I know you want to be you said you want to be the singer for Aerosmith or some quip like that.
Yeah.
But you got a great voice.
Thank you.
And music is ageless now. We know this now. It doesn't matter how old. You need to start singing.
I really
You
should.
should. You got the voice. You just have to just sustain talking is all it is.
I need to write some songs again. I did it in college.
I'll help
and
you.
I have a piano.
Let's do a co-write.
Shit, yeah, I'd definitely do that.
Why
Can I
not?
say dirty words in this podcast?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I've actually never seen Liam, but I have seen Noel
I
Gallagher.
know you're a Noel fan.
I've seen him a couple times, and the funny thing is, I saw him at Summer Stage a couple years ago, and I bought 2 T-shirts without looking at them very closely. And when I got home, I realized that one of them was in fact a Liam Gallagher T-shirt. I thought those guys hated each other, so I don't know why Noel would sell Liam's T-shirts for him.
You probably bought it from a bootlegger, like in the parking lot.
No, it was in.
It was in the legit mark?
in the legit merch
zone.
zone,
That's crazy.
which I just thought was kind of funny.
See, I know you're a Noel fan because I remember when his last solo album came out, you were texting me like, "Hell, you got to check it out. It's great."
I like it, but the funny
Yeah.
thing is that Barry, my partner who loves your music, has decided that he detests Noel Gallagher, and I took him to I took him to a show. He sat there and pouted through the whole show.
That's so funny.
I thought it was great.
I want to meet Barry.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, because I don't detest Noel, but I am definitely a Liam fan.
Well, maybe I should check Liam out then.
His new solo stuff is really, really good, really strong. He's coming up. It's just fun it's fun. That dynamic is so fun. It's like,
I'll definitely
sorry,
check
I'm a
out.
control freak.
No worries. You need to be, and that's another thing.
That's right.
as a songwriter and a performer, it's a lot like a chef. You've got to be a control freak.
Yeah.
You got to decide who makes the best, who grows the best lamb, who has the best herbs, down to what the plate looks like and the lighting that shines onto the plate. And it's a similar craft.
I love this that you're comparing the music with being a chef. That's awesome.
I think there's a lot of affinities between the two,
Yeah.
and almost every chef I know is really into music, and many of them actually play it. Tom Colicchio is in a band.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You do have a great voice. I mean, you know that you have a great voice.
Well, I've been told. It's clear.
It's obvious. It's part of the reason for your success.
I used to play music in college, and
it's
I've kind of lost my piano chop. I played piano and drums. I've kind of lost my chops. I want to get them back. I have a piano, and I would like to record some stuff.
You don't need. I mean, all you really like. Okay, the album "Some Girls" by the Rolling Stones. That's when I guess Keith was on Smack or something. So Mick Jagger had to write all the songs. There's 2 chords. Every song on that. It's A and E.
Yeah, Beast of Burden doesn't even really have a chorus, does it?
I mean,
it kind of does.
It's the greatest song of all time, that song.
It's my favorite Stone song.
It's the best lyric of the world. It's like Mick Jagger is a highly underrated songwriter, actually. He's not considered, when you talk about songwriters like, oh, Bob Dylan, Leonard Cohen, it should be also Mick Jagger.
Yeah, I agree.
Like Beast of Burden, I mean, it's endless how many great songs he's written. And Keith kind of gets all the credit.
That's obviously. I think that's probably my favorite Stones album.
Yeah.
It was at 78, I think.
In fact, I'm doing a Rolling Stones song today after this podcast downstairs. I got to do Salt of the Earth.
I don't know that one. Maybe if I heard it.
Yeah. I don't know it either. That's a problem. I have to,
Stones are not my
I have to
strong
learn
point.
it. Like, listen to the hardworking people.
It's probably 2 chords also.
Yeah. The salt of the earth. Anyway.
That's nice.
It's Keith starts singing it, then Mick comes in. But
Mick's a better singer.
Yeah.
Mick is much better singer than Keith. But
yeah.
But I said, what was that one song that? He sang. Keith sang a couple, and I always kind of got a kick out of it.
Salt of the Earth is one of them.
Right on.
They give Keith, you'll see at the show, they give him 2 songs.
What's the one?
I looked up a set list. I'll tell you. Because
it'll
he
come.
sings the same ones every time.
Yeah, it'll come to it'll come to me.
I don't know. Oh, Happy.
Oh, Happy. That's it. Yeah.
Happy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great song.
Yeah.
So what's are you? I know you're doing some performing. Are you going to see any shows?
I don't even know. I go
We just went last night.
I went and saw the Wallflowers last night because Jacob Dylan was on the podcast.
Oh yeah, I saw
He's
that.
a super sweet guy.
Cool.
Totally cool dude.
I was telling him about Lamb Chop. I don't know if you know that band from Nashville.
I know of them, yeah, but I haven't heard them in a while.
They're playing at that theater Murmur, whatever, in Brooklyn on
November.
On November 2nd. I saw them at Bowery Ballroom years ago. They brought me to tears like 5 times. They're fantastic group.
Who else do you like?
Well, on my current list it's Lamb Chop. I'm going to see Beck and Spoon and Cage the Elephant.
Okay.
At Forest Hills, which is I love that venue.
Oh, yeah, you said that on the Todd Barry soundtrack.
Yeah. Well, you got to buy the tickets pretty far ahead of time.
Yeah, Forest Hills. Yeah, I've been there before.
It's a good venue.
It's cool.
I just saw in the last few months I've seen Earth, Wind and Fire, David Byrne. I just knocked over the Devil's Advocate.
You can leave him on the floor. The devil belongs on the damn floor.
I guess he's everywhere anyhow, right?
Exactly.
The two songs they give Keith, he did Slipping Away and Before They Make Me Run.
Oh, yeah, right. That one, too.
That was on the last show in Houston a few nights ago. That's the 2 songs they gave him.
I mean, I like a lot. One of the great things about living in New York is that obviously every band has to play here when they tour. The difficulty is the competition for tickets and the prices, which are bad. But what I'm trying to do is see a mix of, I want to see the Stones because I want to see them before it's too late to see them. I saw The Who a couple of years ago. So I'm going to see all that classic stuff, but I also like plenty of current stuff too.
Yeah.
I like the band Phoenix a lot. I saw them not long ago.
They're French, right?
They are French.
Yeah, and they're married to Coppola.
Yeah, one of them's married to Sofia Coppola, I believe.
I mean, the whole band is. It's a group relation.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, she could probably pull that off.
I gotta ask Ted, I'm assuming you would have connections everywhere for tickets. Why is it a struggle for you?
It's not a struggle to get most of the shows aren't hard to get tickets for, except a band like the Stones, where I have an agent because I work in TV, and so they helped me get those, but I still had to pay like $475 for them. And for the Stones, that's not even that bad. I mean, isn't that insane?
It's totally insane to me.
It's insane. But lamb chop is $35, so that won't be a problem.
But how busy? You're a huge music fan, and you go. It seems like you go a lot, but few and far between. Is your schedule really busy that you're not available most of the time?
Well, as I was telling Joe, it's busy when we're shooting, but we just finished a 6-month run, and so now I've got plenty of time.
So So you shoot for like 6 months, and then what? You're off for like 6 months. Is that how it goes?
It's going to shake out that way now.
And you like log a bunch of episodes.
We did 64.
How come I was listening, and you guys do like specialty episodes to keep it like fresh and everything like that? Because how many seasons has it been?
It's something it's something like 45 or 46 seasons, but the word season doesn't mean much to me when we're always airing new ones.
Yeah.
And for me, we shoot multiple seasons, quote unquote, in a run. So
yeah.
For me, it's just how many episodes. We're at about 700 episodes.
That's incredible. This is season 2 of our podcast. I've just decided.
Cool.
So
season 2, episode
21.
22.
Oh, 22.
You've done 22?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Not bad, right?
No, that's really good.
I know. We're excited about it. Yeah, in 2 months. Ehud drives this bus, man. This guy.
Do you get? Have you been able to grow it pretty quickly?
I mean, it seems like people like it, a good vibe. Anyway, I wanted to ask you though, real quick, about because you guys do specialty episodes. Why don't you do one where like it's musicians getting?
I have actually thought of that.
And why can't I be on it?
There's no reason you couldn't.
I want to be on it. I want to.
Are you a veg?
No. In fact, I want to talk to you about that. I was, and then I went into keto, and then I've kind of been doing even carnivore, and it's been mind blowing the effects it's had on my overall health, on my mental health, on everything. It's like, it's unbelievable, because I was somebody who believed in plant-based completely and was just, supplements, I don't really take supplements anymore. I'm just, I'm just doing mostly ketogenic stuff and like very little carbs.
It's kind of good to get your energy naturally, I guess.
It's like more fat-based burning or so. What's your whole take on all that stuff?
I just eat whatever I want, but in wide variety. I'm all about wide variety. I never eat the same thing twice in a row. And my mom does something that I think is related to keto. She eats real butter.
That's me too.
She eats grass-fed meat.
Mm-hmm. I try to get humanely treated, whatever.
Of course. Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, and sorry to interrupt, but it was like, since I've been on this diet, I cook every single meal. I don't ever order any, and I used to only order in. And
I feel good about that when you have the time to do that. I like to do most of my own cooking too. I had an exciting cooking fail last night.
What happened?
Total. I just hated the dish. I grow tomatoes on my roof, and I found this recipe for a tomato pie that sounded good, and I spent hours on it. Half the tomatoes were roasted, half of them were raw. Put them in a pie shell that I should have known when I got it. It was all cracked. I should have made my own pie dough. I just didn't want to.
Tomato pie.
I ate like 3 or 4 bites of it and bailed. I'm going to get the tomatoes. It
doesn't sound great.
Right? It had cheese on the top. It had parm and Asiago cheese.
I would have ate it. Tomatoes are great.
No, I know, but
I'm gonna keep the tomatoes and put them on a pizza or something. Yeah. While I was making it, I said to myself, I bet I'm gonna eat this and wish I had made it into a pizza instead of a pie.
Yeah.
I guess a pizza is a pie anyway.
Yeah. So how did you get into being like on Chopped and all the TV stuff and everything?
Super lucky.
What happened?
Well, when I was an editor at Chicago Magazine.
Because you were a writer, right?
Yeah, and I was writing for Esquire.
That's it. You were like okay.
And a friend of mine who lived here told me about this casting notice for a show called Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. Mm-hmm. And I decided I would spend $200, get some FaceTime with my Esquire editor, which has helped. When you don't live in New York, it's really smart to get FaceTime connections with your editors. I mean, not FaceTime with an iPhone. I mean, actually seeing them. So I spent the money. I crashed on a friend's sofa. I went to this audition and thinking that I'd never get the part, and also the show would never air.
And you were also just thinking about, let me hang out with the editor too. So it was like that kind of justified the expense to you.
Totally. What happened was the show did get made. I did get the part. The show was a hit for about a year.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a comet. It was a short-lived but hot-burning hit. But it got me enough visibility that I was able to get a gig judging on Iron Chef America and Top Chef at the same time, which I did for a couple of years and kept me on television and kept me top of mind with Food Network. And when this opportunity came up, I don't know if they thought I could carry a show or not. But the thing is, I know they had doubts. But the thing is, I have 3 judges who also help me carry it. Mm-hmm. And the stars of the show are the people who are competing. And it took off. It's been on the air for 10.5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a total meal ticket. I'm really lucky.
It's like, that's a pun. It's a fun show. No, it's great. It's just fun as hell to watch that show. I'm sorry. It's like, dude, it's like, once you start watching it, you're like, okay, next episode. It's like.
It's the commercials that kill me.
Maybe I should, no, I hate the commercials kill me too. Maybe I should say, just for the sake of listeners who don't know, that I'm Ted Allen and I'm the host of Chopped on the Food Network.
Yeah, we let people introduce themselves.
Oh, is that how it works?
Yeah.
They'll figure it out.
I'm just trying to get some more eyeballs.
Ted Allen is here with us. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, my pleasure. It's great to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you.
I wish you had a guitar with you.
Well, we got one downstairs. we could do a song together. That would be cool. We should do a Ho'oponopono song with Ted Allen. That would be awesome.
I don't know if I know that one, but I could probably learn it.
No, we're gonna make it up as we go.
Wait, but go back to Chopped. Well, you were on Top Chef and
I was
Chef.
a judge on Top Chef and Iron Chef,
And
which is kind of like
competing networks, right? Or not really?
Yes, competing networks, which shows you how it's not the judges rotate. They're not all that particular about
and you. Only did that once.
I was actually a regular on both of those shows for a couple of years.
And nobody frowned on it?
No, they did. I don't think they really noticed or cared. And it doesn't pay much, but it did keep me on television and kept me on the front burner at Food Network. And then when this opportunity came up, when a new show starts at Food Network, they usually order about either 6 episodes or 13 episodes or whatever, and throw it on the wall and see if it sticks. And this one stuck big time, so they started ordering much bigger orders, and we've been at it nonstop for 10.5 years.
It's never going to stop.
Our ratings are as good as they've ever been, but it's got a lot of moving parts. It's got. I think we have really good editors. We have really good. We do put themes on the shows. For the most part, we'll do a show about cured. Well, actually, wouldn't do a show about that. I'm having trouble thinking of themes. We do holiday shows.
Well,
Thanksgiving shows.
Theme that I loved you talking about was people, school worker.
Oh, the
cooks,
lunch ladies.
The lunch ladies.
Yeah.
And how there was a story. One of them was giving out backpacks full of pasta and food that sticks to the ribs, like you said.
That was Cheryl Barbara from New Haven, Connecticut.
Without other kids know. This is heart-wrenchingly beautiful. Without other kids knowing that there was food stuffed in there. Yeah.
That Cheryl Barbara of New Haven, Connecticut is a lunch worker at a school, and she buys backpacks and puts food in them. The reason she buys backpacks is so the other kids won't know that the underprivileged kids need the handout. She's helping them avoid stigma, and it's so heartwarming.
Can we all try a little harder to be like this lady?
Yeah, she probably makes $10.
Honestly, I'm about to cry. Like, can we just try harder? humanity, can we please just be more like this lady?
Yeah, even halfway as good.
I mean, if we could be halfway as good as this lady.
and when you work
like,
in a
dude,
when
it's
you
crazy.
when you
That
work
is
in a-
like
when you work in a school cafeteria, you make about probably $10 an hour.
That's-
She's not a rich person.
that's empathy right there.
So, that's love. It's love.
Empathy, and that's that's the opposite of that beast on the floor right there.
Right?
That's the opposite of that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. That everybody loves that episode. And also we had
Dude.
Sam Cass, the Obama's former personal chef,
Yeah.
was a judge on that show, and he's also great to have around. I would say that's a highlight episode for me too.
That's amazing. I can't believe you haven't done the music one, and I can't believe it's going to be me versus Liam Gallagher.
Yeah, you know what? You know who we did have on?
Come on, let's do this.
We did have Dweezil Zappa on.
I love Dweezil. I met
and
him.
he was great. Really
Yeah,
nice.
He's a nice guy.
Was he a judge or did he cook?
He cooked, and he's an avid cook. And a lot of I mean, it kind of stands to reason. First of all, we all have to eat. Secondly, a lot of people who are into the arts are going to be drawn to cooking as much as any other.
I'm a weirdly
pleasurable
good
craft.
cook.
What was the last
I'm
thing
not
you
surprised.
cooked, Joe?
I'm good.
What
What?
was the last thing you cooked?
I cooked right before I came here. I made 6 eggs and bacon and liver pate.
That's a lot of eggs.
I eat that many eggs every time I eat eggs.
Well,
I
you're a
eat
big boy.
6 eggs. I did 90 minutes of hot yoga too before I came here.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Glad I hugged you. It's hot out too, by the way.
It is hot, but I took a cold shower right afterwards.
Okay. I do a lot of walking. I don't do any working out, but I walk a lot. I try to get 10,000 steps. I wear this counter thing. And New York is such a great city for walking.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, it's the best.
it is the best.
It's the emotion on the street.
Totally. And
There's no other place like it.
art, architecture, culture, weirdness,
Don't
freaks.
you love it? Where do you live?
I live in Clinton Hill, Brooklyn.
Yeah, Brooklyn. Brooklyn Heights kind of thing.
Well, it's not as elderly as Brooklyn Heights. It's more diverse. I'm right next to the Pratt Institute, so there are lots of art students and young kids around, which I dig in the appropriate way.
I knew what you meant.
And also where I work, we have a lot of kids in their 20s, which is... I like having that around. It helps. They keep me a little more current with music.
Yeah.
They bust my chops a lot. It's fun.
What do you think the difference between like the new young people like in their 20s versus like us? Like what how old are you?
I'm a 54.
So we're like similar. I'm 47. But like what about like the younger people, like 20s? They're different, right?
I don't know. I mean, with every generation, people label them. I guess I'm an X, and everyone's and all people
think
my
I'm
age
Gen X.
are kind of dragging the millennials.
What do you mean?
That's the 20-somethings.
Yeah,
and
the millennials.
and below the millennials. Everyone's it's
What
just
do you
like,
mean by dragging them?
But it's saying that they're lazy, saying that they want everything to be handed to them.
I don't think
I'm not down with that at all.
I think they're kind of advanced, but like I'm hanging out with talented ones.
Of which there are many.
Yeah.
I just resist putting labels on whole generations
Yeah.
of people because of their age. And I also think if you don't like millennials, you better get used to them because pretty soon they're going to be running this joint.
Yeah.
But I know lots of very hardworking millennials, lots of really creative, smart millennials, just
Yeah.
like any generation.
Yeah.
So I kind of resist generalizing about them.
Yeah.
They're just young people.
No, generalizations are always bullshit, but it's fun to talk in generalizations on a thing like a podcast.
Yeah, why not? I dig their energy. And I still have. I'm still pretty energetic, but I'm starting to get a little bit creaky.
Really?
I used to jump down 5 steps when I went down to the subway, and now I jump down.
I wouldn't have given you 42.
42.
He doesn't. He looks like he's in his late 30s.
Oh,
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
But he said 50 something.
Yeah, which is bananas to me.
Yeah.
Me
And
too.
he looks great, and he's fit, and he doesn't exercise. I mean,
Well, I exercise. Walking
and
is
he
exercise.
eats what he wants.
I eat pretty well. I eat pretty balanced.
Right.
I don't eat a lot of sweets.
That's the key. carbs and sweets.
Yeah.
Eliminate that.
You know, I used to have a drink once in a while we were working, and because we do this one variation on the show called After Hours, where the judges themselves cook.
Yeah.
And we have wine and stuff. And I realized that I don't need to be intoxicated on a broadcast environment. It just it takes me off my game a little bit.
I've stopped all that stuff. Weed makes me fear-based.
Oh yeah,
a
lot of people say that.
Yeah, like I would like overthink everything, like especially when you start a podcast and stuff like that, and you're like running your mouth and taking chances.
Can I ask you how you write a song,
Sure.
or is it different every time?
I usually will like just mess around with guitar, and then I'll be like struck by a melodic vibe, which like getting a melody in is like sort of gift oriented, like I feel like people who have a gift with melody, that is kind of a gift, it's hard to think about working on a melody because it has to just kind of arrive, I feel like.
Do you always get the music before the words?
Usually, and then the words will just sort of present themselves or like a concept, but every once in a while I'll write lyric first. I've done albums where I've written lyrics first, like Ballad of Boogie Christ was all lyrics first. Mm-hmm. But now my new stuff is more just like music first, and then you just like slot in the words.
I mean, when I did write songs, not to draw any comparisons between mine and yours, because yours are better, but I didn't find it especially hard.
Yeah.
I just think it's just something you have to keep doing.
Well, yeah, just like anything else, it's just a practice.
You have the drive both of an artist and someone that needs to make money doing that. Which doesn't hurt in terms of motivation.
Well, yeah, I'm fully motivated in that way, in terms of just like, I need to survive, and I'm overcoming a lot of wild shit in my life over the last few years too. Which is oddly helpful. I mean, because of things like starting this podcast and just, like you said, just like working on survival,
What was it that brought you from Red Hook back to Manhattan?
I had to leave my place in Brooklyn, and it was an illegal space. I was living in a garage that was converted into a recording studio for like 5 or more than 5 years.
I liked it. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Wasn't it kind of like behind an auto repair thing?
It was cool, but it was like it had an unhealthy vibe to it in that it didn't really have windows. It worked for me.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem.
And it was a fire hazard, like it
I'm
was
sure.
like, even my landlords were like, dude, if something happens in here, you're going to, they got worried about me, like, because of that. And then
Rebel Country was a great space.
It was called Rebel Country. It was a great space.
Rebel Country. Are you in a space where you're able to have a studio?
Yeah, I'm in, and now I'm in the East Village, and it's just wonderful.
I love it.
I love living in Manhattan. I mean, it's like I would always gravitate towards here anyway. Now I just wake up and I'm here, and it's like the energy here is wonderful. I don't know. I'm just like really enjoying it.
As much as the Lower East Side has changed, it has gotten a lot fancier. I used to live at 3rd Avenue and 10th Street when I was in school. It's gotten a lot fancier, but it still has its identity, and it's one of my favorite neighborhoods. I would also live in the East Village if I were choosing in Manhattan for sure.
Yeah, it 100% still has the vibe. People like try to act like, oh, New York's gone, now, like, but it's not.
I read somewhere that New Yorkers have been complaining about change since at least the 1700s.
Exactly.
It's what we do.
Yeah.
And by the way, so does everybody else. But at least New York is a place where it's worthwhile to it's valuable enough that we don't want to lose it. But I don't think it's going to happen. Change. It's going to change.
Right.
There's too many beeper stores already, but there's still.
What are beeper stores?
The beepers, those things, those messenger.
They still have beepers?
I guess they probably don't anymore have beepers, do
No.
they? Cell phone stores.
They're called cell phones now. It's
Right.
text messages.
Yeah, I just dated myself.
Beeper
But there's still
I
plenty.
remember the beepers.
But there's still plenty of great places to see bands. There are millions of venues in this town that I haven't even been to yet.
Well, right now we're in the Bowery Electric, just Jesse Mallon's place, and it's like
great music venue.
I didn't know this was his.
Yeah.
I've seen him.
He's like, I got a new album coming out on October the 10th.
I know,
October 11th.
I know. I pre-ordered it.
Oh, you did? Thank you.
And I heard the one song that you did release. It's beautiful.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy you heard it. I was hoping you had heard it.
I absolutely.
But there's a song on it on the new album called Mayor of the Lower East Side, and it's kind of inspired by Jesse Malin.
Okay, that just explains something to me. So I saw Jesse Malin when he was playing a show. He was hired by John Varvatos to play a show for a party celebrating some kind of fashion thing. And now you just made the connection for me because John also not only really loves rock and roll, but really identifies with the Lower East.
And took over CBGB's.
Store. And while his clothes are very expensive, I like that he took over CB's because he made it kind of a shrine.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's cool. It's like, and what I like about Jesse is that he's keeping this club we're in right now. This is like, okay, it's not CBGB's, but it's the closest thing to CBGB's we have now. Right, so right next door to where CBGB's was, and it's pretty fucking kick-ass.
So this place books that kind of talent, like
it's like rock and roll, like punkish.
They try,
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I'm going to start watching
for a lot of those punk bands.
If you want to come to this Stones thing we're doing here on Sunday night, you're also welcome.
It's Sunday night?
Sunday night, yeah.
I'll have to check with headquarters, but
sure.
check
with headquarters, but yeah,
but sure. That's good to know because I used to go to, as I said, I lived really close to CBGB's back in the day.
Yeah.
I saw the Dandy Warhols there, which was awesome.
That would be awesome.
I love that band.
Yeah, they're pretty damn good.
I was just thinking about what
I like Brian Jonestown Massacre too.
I like them too, but the Dandies are. I got to meet them there because I was trying to figure out how I got into your music. Did you ever do anything for Capitol?
No.
See, I had a friend who was a publicist at Capitol Records who actually got me into that show and introduced me to the Dandy Warhols and Courtney Taylor, who, as you would imagine from his songs, is really not that nice of a person. That's kind of their thing.
I met him. He was okay.
He was okay.
Well, yeah, I know what you mean.
I just asked him the wrong question.
What happened?
I just said something like, "Oh man, I see you guys are touring Europe, in a week or two," and he's like, "Oh God, don't remind me." And I get it.
That's sort of funny, though.
Yeah, it's funny.
Like,
well, all his songs are basically sneering at people, in a really snotty way.
Yeah.
But I love their chops. I think I discovered that there's an album out from them that I don't own, so I got to get that. I got some stuff to buy.
I like that you can still be a fan of a band even if you're off put by somebody's personality. That's big of you.
Well, I think it's consistent with his artistic output. And their biggest song is "We Used to Be Friends."
Yeah,
but I haven't thought of you lately at all.
Yeah,
I just think that's hilarious.
What about are you a Bob Dylan fan?
I definitely am, and I definitely respect him. But it's not something I'm playing a lot right now.
Right.
I'm trying to find more new things.
Yeah.
And there's just so much. It's overwhelming.
It's weird. I feel like as a musician, when I hear you talk about music, you're more of a fan of music than I am. You know what I mean?
You have trouble finding new stuff that you like?
I'm just not a big fan of music. It's weird. I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say. But certain people are fans of music and certain people are not.
I'm a massive fanboy. I've been going to concerts since I was 15.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the Cars.
What's your favorite ever concert?
I mean, I've seen a lot of
top 3.
It's going to be really hard to answer that, but in the past couple of years I can say David Byrne put on an amazing show, played tons of stuff from Remain in Light, Cross-Eyed and Painless, The Great Curve, it was basically like seeing Talking Heads during the Stop Making Sense era, which I also did. I saw the Heads in 84 or 83 when they were doing that for the first time. I just saw I went to a party where the band that was performing was Earth, Wind, and Fire. And
what party was that?
The president of Discovery Networks had a big party last Labor Day at his house on the beach in the Hamptons.
How much did he pay for Earth, Wind, and Fire?
I got to imagine he paid quite a bit.
What do you guess, $100,000?
I would think more.
I would say $250.
You think
really? $250?
Yeah, that's what private private events go for at a minimum, and a band's on that level?
I played a party for Keanu Reeves once.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I'm not going to say how much it was.
I hear he's really
Is
nice.
he a fan?
Yeah, he
requested it.
It was a birthday party for his best friend, and she was a big fan. But he's really cool. And then he ended up coming to one of my gigs in Manchester too, like when I played the Night and Day. And
That's cool.
Yeah, he's a super cool dude.
That's what I've read.
And now he's kind of like rising into sort of sainthood, his public.
Yeah, for some
But
reason.
it's like deserved, like, because he's like such a cool dude.
He's got a great publicist, apparently.
I think he's probably just like, coming from such a good, genuine place, you know.
That's great that's the number one thing you ask anyone who's met someone famous is like, is he nice?
Yeah, he's super cool.
A lot of them are nice.
Yeah.
I haven't met that many famous people who aren't nice. I've met some who are dull. We've had a lot of interesting guests on Chopped, like Jessica Alba and the actor Zachary Quinto, both of whom were great. We had the race car driver Danica Patrick. We've had comedians. Todd Barry has not been on. He should. I don't know if he's that into food.
Well, he's into his cat.
Yeah, that's not food. Hopefully.
And we did these I wanted to go back to Todd Barry because we sort of skirted over that, like, and then
we need to text him and find out if his Colin. If his feud with Colin Quinn is real, or if that's just something they ginned up to get people going.
Yeah, so we have these life purpose cards, and then he goes, "Wait, you mean you paid for those?" It was a super funny quip.
I don't understand the context of the what are these cards about?
We just pick them, and then you read it.
Okay,
and that's it. And you see if you relate to it, and then he did that, and then he goes, "Wait, you paid for this?" Like. But so he's got a feud with Colin Quinn, huh?
Apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably money in that. That probably gets attention. People like feuds.
So what did you like being on his podcast?
I did. We went long. We went like an hour and 15 minutes. We got along great. I mean, most of his guests, I think he keeps them for 45 minutes or an hour. And
he said most of his guests he knows, and he just insults. And you were like, "I'm for that. Go for it."
He did not insult me, thankfully. Not that I recall. I think he told me that generally he brings his friends in and
that's how he
berates
opened.
them.
Yeah. Anyway, shout out to Todd Barry.
Yo, Todd. Todd's a good guy.
Yeah.
Smart and funny. Two of my favorite things.
All right, pick a card.
So I'm picking a card now. I'm picking a life purpose card.
A life purpose card, yeah. What's your T-shirt? It looks like David Bowie.
It does. That's why I bought it. It's just a zigzag with a rainbow on it. A rainbow zigzag. It's like a superhero.
Or it's like a lightning bolt.
Usually,
lightning bolt.
Usually we have helium before we read these, but we didn't bring the helium with us today.
Damn. You know what? I just had a helium balloon recently. I forgot how much fun that was.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
It gives if you do too much, you get a headache pretty quick.
I don't like it. I do this character called Helium Guru sometimes on Instagram, but it's not with helium. It's just I speed it up the video.
Okay.
All right, go for it.
My life purpose card says it's time to decide. Mm-hmm. Make a decision based on your heart's true desires. I don't know. I pretty much already do that.
Yeah, it's time to decide. Make a decision. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to agree with Todd Barry about these life purposes.
You actually paid for these cards? Wait, let me have another one.
Yeah, what do you want to do? The dragon one? The dragon one's fun. Sure. Or do you want another life purpose?
Oh, these are too earnest. Creative expression. Your soul longs to express itself creatively. Well, that's true. I don't need you to tell me that.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The lady that made these, apparently she went Christian and disavowed these cards.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why if you go Christian you have to disavow things.
Well, Doreen Virtue is a great name for a good Christian.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm. Okay, try this one.
Yeah, let's go for the satanic.
The Motivation Manifesto deck.
All right.
Let me read my life purpose card before you read that.
Go for it.
Leadership. Take charge of this situation. Well, I think I am because I just busted out another deck.
That sounds like one of those successories posters that you see the HR department hangs up in the break room.
I know.
You know,
All right, Todd Berry was right. All
with a picture of a whale or a nature, teamwork.
I know, you're right. Bullshit.
Yeah, this is bullshit. Life is meant to be a vibrant, deeply felt, growing mosaic of long, meaningful moments. Tell it to a starving person, in the desert. It is. If you're lucky enough to be rich and comfortable, you can be.
Wait, so what does it say before you go on a diatribe against it? Which part was the card and which part was your diatribe?
You need to get some snarky cards. Get those cards against humanity. Those are good cards.
All right.
Good call.
Life is meant to be a vibrant, deeply felt, growing mosaic of long, beautiful moments.
Uh-huh.
That was me using my voice talents right there.
Yeah. And that's all it says?
That's all it says.
Have you ever done voice
I don't
acting?
get it.
I have done a little bit, yeah.
Or animation, or
Yes, I'm a voice in the Rocketeer.
really?
I have a small part in a Disney animated thing that's being reissued, The Rocketeer. I play the cast iron chef in 4 episodes of that's being re-released as a series this year.
Uh-huh. What's the
That's
racket?
the movie.
The Rocketeer
Rocketeer,
was
like
a movie a long time ago from Disney, and now it's been turned into a serial.
Is it like a superhero?
Yes.
Like a rocket guy?
But set
It's-
in the
yes, it's a
40s or 30s or.
It's a female heroine, the lead, that is the Rocketeer. Her name is Kit. And I'm only in 4 episodes. I think they're making like 20. Kathy Najimy is in it, and a few other people you probably have heard of, but that I can't think of right now. But I'm excited. Doesn't pay a lot, but it's really fun to do.
I was just about to say that must pay a lot.
It's Disney.
They might have paid Kathy Najimy a lot. I'm sure I'm saying her name wrong. Forgive me, Kathy.
Wow. So is that fun to do? Just like, what do you do? Like, is it easy as hell? I would think that would be easy.
It's pretty easy, and it's fun because I'm playing a villain.
That's fun.
The cast iron chef is this guy who has a food truck who's trying to steal recipes from this successful restaurant.
Yeah.
And in fact, I don't want to give away any plot lines, so I should shut up actually. But it's fun to be a villain. Mm-hmm. Everybody loves to hate villains.
It is.
So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it's fun to be a villain. I want to be a villain in a Disney thing.
Ted will put in a word for you.
I'll put in a word for you, man.
Okay, let us not hope for mere chance to change our story. Let us summon the courage to change it ourselves. Some will stand in our way, but we mustn't hide or minimize ourselves any longer. See, I can relate to that one.
I
like
agree
that one.
I like that too, but I
like
kind of
it.
think that you and I should get into the business of making decks of motivational cards. It appears to be big business.
Yeah, and I think we could do better than this.
Yeah,
Like,
There should
at
be
least as good as.
there should be an occasional snarky one too.
Yeah.
Like, why do you need a deck of cards to find motivation, you loser?
Or just one, or the Todd Berry card that just you pulls it. You mean you actually paid for this?
Yeah, of course, if you produced that, then somebody would, blow their heads off or something, and you'd
Yeah.
get blamed for it, and we don't need that.
So what did you do? What I didn't really ever check out Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. What was your character on that, or was it that was reality based, right?
That was totally a reality show.
and it was the premise of that was just different people that were experts at certain things. That
Yeah,
were
it was-
informing straight dudes.
Yeah, they would find sort of a schlubby guy who needed a makeover, whose place was a dump.
Okay, yeah, I have seen the show. Yeah, I now remember.
And I'm super grateful for it. It got me onto television, and now I'm doing something that I'm more interested in doing.
Right.
It took a week to do those makeovers. It was a lot of trouble.
Oh, really?
It took a week to make an episode, and now I do an episode in a day.
Well, but
so
was it? There must have been some fun, interesting, weird stories.
We found all kinds of stuff. We found so much pornography.
Really?
Everybody, of course. Back then, it was all still printed.
Magazine.
That's how
Yeah.
long ago the show was on.
Yeah.
It was 15 years ago. It was 5 gay guys making over a straight guy. And it was interesting
But
just to put
wasn't
those populations
each
together.
gay guy like a specialty at certain things? Like this, what were you?
I was the
specialty?
food and wine guy.
Why are you the food and wine guy?
I came from a background of food writing and restaurant criticism.
Oh, I see.
And I talked a good game, and I got the part.
And how did you get into food writing and criticism like that? Like where'd your expertise come from in that realm?
I was always into cooking anyway, but and I did a fair bit of it. But when I worked at Chicago Magazine, you know how most city magazines cover restaurants as an important part of what they do, including New York Magazine. And so when I was there, I auditioned to be on the staff of the critics. And they sent me out, and I was good at it, and I took it really seriously and was very descriptive of these restaurants that I went to. And that just played nicely into the ability to explain how to the straight guys, here's how do you cook a lobster? What are the different styles of champagne? You know, all I had to do was teach them to do one thing. So it was, and the options for me were limitless. You know, how do you cook Indian food? Or actually, it's not even that general. How do you make, a samosa? And it was fun. But I remember once we were shooting in New York City in July. The weather was just as hot as this. And I had decided that because the straight guy was a Portuguese American, I was going to introduce him to some Portuguese cooking. And I suggested a linguiça, which is a type of Portuguese sausage, a linguiça stew. And his apartment was not air conditioned. And we were making this bloody stew that I had to cook forever. Oh God, it was awful.
Well, if I would have just said to him, like, hey, here's the first tip. Get an air conditioner.
Right? We should have gotten him an air conditioner.
Was that show before the boom of the reality TV shows, or did that start it?
It was that show began in 2003. So we're talking a long time ago.
And you won an Emmy for that.
We did get an Emmy, yeah.
Yeah.
And the new version of Queer Eye just won 3 Emmys.
That's wild.
So I guess it just shows you that I never thought they would make that show, that they would ever reboot that show, but they did.
I never knew it ended. I got to be honest, I've never watched it.
Oh, that's totally fine.
But I was fully aware of it, and I was aware it was this big thing that everyone was always talking about.
Yeah, it kind of.
I never knew you were on it.
Something about it seems to resonate.
Well, it's got a great name.
Yeah?
Yeah, Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
And then now they just call it Queer Eye.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
It's just sort of shorthand. It's what everybody. That's what all the viewers started calling it.
Yeah.
And everyone knew what it was. The funny thing, the guy that got the food and wine category in the current version worked for me for 3 years. I introduced him to the producers.
That's cool.
And he got the job.
That's
on
good.
his own merits.
Do you like him?
Oh yeah, he's great.
So you're excited for him?
I'm totally excited for him. I mean, actually, they're on Jimmy Fallon tonight.
Oh, as a guest, just like that's cool.
Did the name ever bother anyone? You guys?
It bothered me a little bit because I didn't use that word a lot to describe myself.
I mean, it's offensive.
But I think that
why is it offensive?
It's just like even in today's day and age, it's not a great word. It's
queer?
not. Yeah, it's like.
Well, the idea
some people
was
identify as queer though, and it's not like it's not derogatory or anything.
I actually not lobbied against it.
Oh, you did.
But I think part of why the thing is a success is because it's somewhat provocative,
right?
To call it that.
It is.
It's a good name.
I think so, and the cast of the show was all gay, so we can use that word if we want.
I've just never thought queer was in any way derogatory at all.
Well, it's certainly a lot of people have embraced it now.
Well, it's in the LGBTQ.
Yeah,
it's the Q in that.
It's in there.
Well, I'm talking 2003.
2003. It was. I'll put it this way: we got to do the Today Show once, and I'll never forget how uncomfortable Matt Lauer seemed to be saying the word queer when he was naming the show.
I guess now, when you put it like that, yeah, because it's also sometimes people would use it as like a
slur.
Like a slur, like
I mean, things change over time, and that's a word
that's
that definitely has changed.
That's a word that's become like less of a slur.
Less. No, it's no problem.
Mostly
these days.
Words become more of a slur, or like
Yeah.
I'm not going to start naming those words.
That's probably a good idea.
It's a slippery
slope. Other than you, obviously, no one at the network said, "Guys, we can't go with this."
Oh, we were airing on Bravo. You know, and actually, we were the show that catapulted Bravo into a new place. But we had as I said, only like a 1.5 or 2 year run. So that should have been the end of my TV career. And I'm super, super grateful that something else happened that has lasted as long as
Why
this
do you
has.
say it should have been the end?
Because it was a fluke that I was on TV in the first place. Or maybe it wasn't. I
Do
don't
you
know.
think so? Like, what is your philosophy about things like manifesting your reality and stuff like that? Like, do you have any magical thinking in terms of that, or
Not especially. No, actually, not. No, I wouldn't say magical at all. I think that it's a combination of great good fortune or luck. I mean, or when it comes to TV, there's definitely a lot of luck involved if it's going to work well. If you're going to have a lasting career, and certainly there's talent involved. But I'm not talking about me having any especially special talent. You gotta hustle.
You're a
It's just
great
like-
host, though.
Well, thank you. But you're a great musician, and to do that requires talent and work, a lot of hustle, and it requires some luck as well.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, but like the reality that you've created, like you really like sort of think, oh, I just got lucky, or like did you visualize the reality you've created, or has it really just fallen on your lap, so to speak? Or
I mean, none of this could have happened if I didn't also work with really good people. Because, but see, I did not create Chopped. Linda Lee created Chopped.
But my point is going deeper than that. Like you meeting someone like Linda Lee. You know what I mean? Like you meeting the good people. Like coming from, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, and Indianapolis, Indiana.
That's funny. How long were you in Columbus, Ohio?
Only as long as till I was I don't know, second grade or so.
Okay, because I'm from Akron, Ohio.
You know what? I used to know that and forgot it.
Yeah, I didn't know you were from Ohio.
Yep.
That's so funny.
And Ohio's fine.
Well,
but
yeah, like so much magic comes from Ohio.
I guess it does, doesn't
Dude,
it?
like fucking the 12-step movement comes from Akron, Ohio.
Para Ubu is from Cleveland.
Fucking Guided by Voices.
Guided by Voices.
Chrissy Hine.
She's from Ohio?
She went to my high school.
I thought she was English.
She went.
I did. I really did.
Yeah, because she comes off like that, but
Her band.
she's awesome. She
is sort of awesome.
She accomplished. There are very
I love
few
some of her
women
songs, yeah.
who have been able to assert themselves as strongly as she has as a front person.
Strong woman, yeah.
And I really value her for that.
Yeah,
Their music is great. I need more of it.
I agree.
She was she's a big vegetarian too.
Yeah, total vegan.
She had a
vegetarian.
restaurant called Vegetarianium.
That's cool.
in Ohio.
Yeah,
It closed.
Oh, she
Yeah.
probably doesn't live in Ohio anymore, right?
No, but she tried. Like she went back and she's got that song. I went back to Ohio. Yeah, but I don't think she lives there anymore. I don't really know. But the Black Keys too. They went to my high school.
You know who lives in Ohio is Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, and
On a
Dave
farm.
Chappelle in Cleveland.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy to be from there. I visit once in a while.
So Ohio, and then to second grade, then you moved where?
My dad got transferred to Indianapolis.
What'd your dad do?
He was a CPA. He looked like an accountant. Super nerdy looking. Black glasses, black frame glasses.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then your mom. And what about your mom?
My mom's still there. I lost my dad 10 years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was unfair. He was always a very well-behaved man. He just got cancer. My mom is still there. She's got a nice husband. We grew up in a house with a big wooded lot behind us and a creek and, BB guns and camping and cutting down trees. And
Real Americana type of upbringing.
yeah, totally. Really great place to grow up.
Yeah.
But I'm more of a city guy.
Uh-huh.
So as soon as I did my undergrad at Purdue University, which is not especially urban, but I went to grad school here at NYU.
NYU.
And I knew I didn't want to. I would love to have started out in New York City, but I didn't want to have like 3 roommates and live. You know how difficult it is to live in New York City when you're broke. So I went to Chicago for like 13 years and worked there.
What'd you do there?
I was a magazine editor and a reporter. Mostly writing and editing for magazines.
What kind of writing?
I did everything from, as I said, the restaurant criticism to celebrity profiles to serious business stories.
Yeah.
At Chicago the kinds of stories that you see in city magazines. It's a fun job.
Would people then, when they met you, go like, "Hey, you got a great voice. You should do something on radio. You should become a personality. Did you get that kind of feedback from people?
Nobody said that to me then, but people say it to me now.
Yeah, well, now it's obvious. Like, you're like one of the biggest TV hosts around, you know.
I never take it for granted. I'm really grateful.
People say it to you now. It's like, okay, great.
You know, anybody who can have a job that they don't hate, right there is that you're much luckier than 9 out of 10 people.
Definitely.
When you get to say nothing of having a job where you get to be creative and express yourself. Which you genuinely do, 100% do.
Yeah, I'm very lucky.
But you're very talented too.
Thank you.
I feel like the work that we do it has some value. It's funny. It's interesting. I think knowing about food is a valuable thing. Mm-hmm. And it's fun to watch artistic people express themselves that way.
Yeah. You're very approachable for somebody who's as famous as you are, and also you're very nice and generous. Like, I remember one of my friends, Catherine in Mexico, was watching your show, Chopped, and then I like, oh my God, I know him, you know, and then I texted you, and then somehow linked you or gave you her number or vice versa, and you like were nice enough to text her some nice things, and it was just, you're very like that. I just want people to know that about you.
I just think it's
that's really cool, dude.
Well, I'm lucky to have this. I'm lucky to even be in this position. So
Yeah.
I think I need to pay it back when it comes up. You know what I really like?
Even you being on our podcast again.
Happy to be here.
Thank you for doing it.
I just wanted to see you and hang out a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. You may not get this because your art is not really kid oriented, but our show is something that children watch and every age range watches.
Yeah.
So have you ever had? I often get the experience of like an 8-year-old turning around the corner and spotting me, and their eyes blowing up into saucers. Yeah, that's right. Carmen did that a little bit
She
too.
was excited to meet you, and
And that's pretty neat.
Ehud was like, Carmen was excited to meet.
I'll
Ted.
tell the story.
Okay, go for it.
So yesterday, randomly, Carmen asked me, "Daddy, I don't know why, Daddy, do I know any famous people?" And I said, "Carmen, you know Joe. She knows a lot of musicians because I also work in music." And she's like, "They're not famous."
She's
I was
right. I mean, she's got a point.
So then I said,
Fame's not all it's cracked up to be.
So then I said, you know what, Carmen, tomorrow's podcast is with Ted Allen. She's like, "What?"
So you've seen our show, Carmen?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Yeah, me and my mom usually watch it a lot.
Thank you very much.
So,
I appreciate it.
So an 8-year-old, she's like, "Oh, Ted Allen, he's famous.
That's cute.
He's on TV." And
So
and
cute.
to
That
her,
was so
if
cute,
you're on
dude.
TV, then you made it. That's the
We'll have to take a picture together, Carmen. That's a real treat to be able to make a kid happy.
Yeah.
Just by taking.
and
a
they
photo.
love an 8-year-old for some reason. She watches all the cooking shows on Netflix, and it's
Kids
it
are
sucks
really
it in, yeah.
Kids are into it. And as you know, we have a version of Chopped where the kids compete.
Yeah.
Chopped Junior, kids aged 9 to 14. Kids know how to work with lemongrass these days. They come in and make Thai food.
What do you
it's
give?
awesome.
What do you give kids to cook? Like
We give them the same kinds of
Same
difficult
thing.
ingredients we give to grown-ups, and they often do better than grown-ups. And you know what I think a reason for that is that when you're a kid, you haven't been professionally trained. You're not boxed into knowing what's the right way and the wrong way to do something. You don't know all the rules yet, so you're more creative with food. And they tend to do things that are a little crazier and often more successful.
That's the same way they are with painting and a lot of times.
100%.
I mean, I think the key is like, can you hang on to that creative spark as you like go through the world beating you down?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to that, and and if you can, you're lucky, or maybe you made it happen yourself, in which case you're just.
No, I think there's a lot of luck involved in that. I mean, when you say like fame isn't all it's cracked up to be, what do you mean by that? I mean,
Well, I mean that I'm not actually famous enough for fame to be a problem, and that's a
Right.
good thing.
You're at a good level of fame, I would think, like where it just is like a nice guest pass through life a lot of times. But actually, you probably get recognized every day.
Not every day. It's at a level where there's a certain subset of people that are really into our show or cooking shows generally. And I just came from did a speaking gig at a conference of produce, the Produce Marketing Association, which is actually a really interesting group in Monterey. These are all food. There are like farmers and people who are in the food industry, but most of those people didn't recognize me until I gave my talk, and then to 1,800 people, and then suddenly I was a conference celebrity, if nothing else. And then I had to start taking pictures with people. But you know, if you're going to be like George Clooney famous, you need to be paid George Clooney money.
Yeah, that's
because
too famous.
Because you have to have a jet.
That would be a drag.
You can't even take a normal airplane.
That would just suck.
I think it would kind of suck.
That would suck. I'm at the level where if I get recognized, it's it's fun. Like I'm like, oh really? You know who I am? Like,
yeah, but you know, see where I get starstruck is the fact that you know Peter Gabriel.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and Peter Buck.
Yeah.
You only
I'm in
hang
a
out
band-
with
I'm in a
people
band
named
with him.
I know you are. I have that album. Do you
Yeah.
only play with musicians named Pete? I was going to go to your show in Williamsburg, and something came up, and I missed it.
But that's
Kicking
okay
myself.
because the next one will be on point. I'm playing a Rough Trade actually in October.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay,
Rough Trade in Brooklyn.
With Jesse Mallon.
No, I think that one is
The
just
solo?
on my own. But me and Jesse Mallon are going on a co-headlining tour in October.
That's awesome.
It's gonna be awesome. Yeah.
That'll be. Will you do stuff together, or will you just play?
I think like
before and after each other.
Before and after, but like I think we're gonna probably end up doing stuff together too.
I definitely won't miss that.
Because we're bros.
I was curious about
Dig it.
one thing about Chopped. That's your main gig.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like you need more than that? Like that you're looking into new things? Because if you have 6 months off, or what happens when Chop ends?
So that's something weird's going on in your kitchen, man.
It was funny.
No, I definitely went through a phase probably at about the 7th year where I was like, man, am I doing? I'm kind of doing the same thing for such a long time, and then I looked at it from another perspective, which is just first of all, there are very few TV shows that stay on TV for 10 plus years and still have ratings. When your ratings are good, you're unlikely to get canceled. So I'm not, but I also was just thinking creatively. I actually have a commitment from the network to do a pilot of something different for me to try, so I can stretch out a little bit.
That's cool.
It is doing the same thing. The thing is, it's a very formatted show. So in one sense, I'm doing the same thing every time. But what keeps it fresh is that the rest of the cast rotates
Changes,
around.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always a different, and the chefs are always different. The competitors are always different. So there's always something. We get surprised. We still get surprised.
What's the new thing going to be? Can you say?
I actually don't know yet.
Oh, you don't know?
No.
But they're going to develop something.
Yeah, I just signed a new contract. And
That's
that was
smart of them.
Part of the deal.
That's smart of them.
It's nice of them. Thank you, Food Network.
It's also smart of them.
Well, they want to keep you around.
But that's smart. That's why they're being smart.
But it's most of the chefs in the Food Network hop between many shows, right?
I do show up on Beat Bobby Flay sometimes. There was, I mean, they tried a couple things. It's just that not everything sticks. We did a show called All Star Academy, which had 2 seasons. And that was with Mike Simon and Bobby Flay and me and Alex Guarnaschelli.
Bobby Flay?
Yeah, Bobby Flay.
Does he make filet of fish? I'm sorry. It's so like,
that could be a product he could market.
How long did the Food Network when you started? Did it ever? Now it's this huge. I mean, not even before now, it's a huge thing. The Food Network.
Yeah.
Did it ever struggle when you guys started? Where it was
I mean,
questionable?
way before my time. When they announced the Food Network is 25 years old now.
okay.
When they launched Food Network, people laughed at them and said nobody's going to want to watch anyone cook on television. And Food Network definitely got the last laugh. Their penetration, they're in pretty much every cable market.
10 years ago, they were
around
well,
the world.
they were big enough that there was no doubt.
Oh yeah, Food Network was definitely really established, even probably 15 or 20 years ago. They took off like a juggernaut shortly after it launched. But in the beginning, I can understand people being skeptical. But the thing is, not only did Food Network help create the trend of people's interest in food, but they were there at the right time. I mean, in the last 25 years, Americans' interest in food and appreciation of things like olive oil and fresh herbs, you didn't find those things in every grocery store 25 years ago the way you do now. It's a much better time to be a food lover now.
Why do you think that happened?
I think because Americans got interested in it and started wanting things to be fresh and real and developing more curiosity about other, I don't even want to say ethnic, that's almost insulting, about other cuisines. In a way that would, if you go back to the 50s, the only fancy restaurants in the United States were French restaurants with white tablecloths that cost a lot.
Like steakhouses, maybe.
Steakhouses too, yeah. And today, the variety of restaurant you can find, even in a small city, let alone New York, is extraordinary compared to what it was. Americans got into it. They got into cooking like crazy. And part of that was food. Food Network deserves some credit for that, but so does Martha Stewart. So do a lot of other forces in the culture that people latched onto and became interested in and wanted to learn how to do it.
Yeah,
totally. And also children, even kids. You were probably, didn't you ever, when you were a kid, want to bake a cake or make a pizza or something? And
not really.
I was kind of into it from the start.
Yeah, no, I had a microwave, and that's about it. But,
okay.
Yeah, but like, what does Barry do?
Barry owns a business that sells vintage designer furniture from the 60s and 70s.
How did you guys meet?
We met at in broad daylight with no alcohol involved or anything at a meeting of the National Lesbian and Gay Journalists Association in Chicago.
Huh.
Yeah, most people meet in bars,
Yeah.
or used to anyway.
Yeah.
And we just hit it off. I mean, we've been together for 26 years.
That's amazing.
Crazy.
26 years.
It is amazing because we really annoy the hell out of each other.
Really?
No, I'm kidding.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I don't know why I can't make anything work.
You just haven't found the right one yet. You've probably made it work for a while.
I've made it work sometimes, but yeah,
If you think about it, just finding people you want to hang around with at all
Right.
is kind of hard,
Yeah.
let alone the one you're going to stick with.
Yeah.
I mean,
Did you guys ever consider kids?
he didn't want them. I kind of have a little bit of a tug.
I have a tug of that for sure. I want to make babies.
I always thought that if one in a couple, if one wants kids and the other doesn't, it can never work out.
Well,
it can
it
though.
can,
I have friends that have that, and they still stay together.
but a lot of people don't.
Sometimes people
that's,
don't.
You know,
yeah.
for some people
That's,
that's mandatory. They want that experience, and I'm willing to bend on it. But the one thing that makes it possible for me to bend on it,
Is your dog?
no, it's that.
Or no, your cat. You have cats.
No. What I'm saying is, if you have kids, you worry about them 100% of the time.
all the time.
And every once in a while, you hear about something really difficult that happened with someone's kid, and I'd console myself with, well, you know, I get freedom, but
Yeah.
which is better, freedom or having that other life force, you know, in your life? I understand the tug. I really.
So do you guys still debate it, or is it just it's not happening?
I
now?
kind of feel like at my age,
You're still young enough.
I know I could do it.
Barely young enough, though. I feel like I'm at that. Like I'm still young enough, but it's like
You gotta lift.
Come on,
You have to be able
like-
to lift them up when
Yeah,
they weigh
it's
30
like-
pounds. You
yeah,
know, and
exactly.
they're hot and sweaty. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
I mean,
I
no.
mean, look at Rod Stewart and Jagger. They had kids in their 70s.
I know, but I don't want to do that.
Well,
No,
they
I'm not
also-
suggesting
I want to have
that's-
kids before I'm 50.
All right.
yeah. I think having kids is different when you're Rod Stewart and Mick Jagger too. You got
Because
87
you don't
nannies.
take care of them. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but kids are cool. I love kids. I love shooting the show with kids. I love I have great nieces and nephews. They're awesome. They're hilarious. Imagine watching a kid like discover the world,
Yeah.
that you already inhabit, and imagine sharing the world with kids. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, I just think like the shift of focus from like the universe being like you centered into like another center is like a super healthy shift. Like that's what happened to you, right?
Yeah, you have to give up a lot, but it's worth it.
I'm sure it's worth
But
it.
then again, you don't know what you're gonna get when you have kids, so
That's true.
You're
It's
also
gonna be a
like
human
betting.
being.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally an adventure for sure.
Do you go in for things like conspiracy theories, or have you ever like read any David Icke or Icke or whatever his name is? I started listening to some of his talks like this last week, and there's more interesting than I thought, because he was this guy that I always heard about, like lizard people and stuff like that, which to me instantly was like, okay, there's no lizard people, but like, but
what if there were?
Well, I don't even know, but like his talks are actually more interesting than that. Like that's like there's some real interesting stuff, and I'm just wondering, do you have any of that leaning, or do you stay pretty mainstream in terms of your perspective on all that kind of thing?
I'm pretty much a reality-based person, but
what's reality though?
That's true.
I
don't know. I don't know anymore. There's plenty of it that I don't like.
Right.
These days, but there's still plenty of beauty in art and music. So I try to
You're also
enjoy what I
involved
can.
in charities, right?
Yeah, I think you need to be, and particularly when you have some kind of a little bit of a platform. I work with City Harvest, which rescues. It's incredible what they do. They feed like 16 million people a year. They rescue food from restaurants and grocery stores when it's a little bit past its prime, but still totally safe to eat. You know, like when the vegetables get a little ugly.
That's amazing.
Chefs of all people hate food waste. So even if they can't profit from it, they hate to see it go to waste. Look, 1 in 6 kids in New York City, has food insecurity in their life and and regularly goes to bed hungry. That's kind of hard to take. And in fact, there's another group, Share Our Strength, which is where Food Network puts all of its philanthropic energy. They have a specific program called No Kid Hungry. When you're lucky enough to work in food television, or if you're lucky enough to be a famous chef, it's a perfect fit.
Yeah.
To line up with something like City Harvest.
How'd you get involved with them?
I just my friend Mark Murphy, who's also on Chopped, was deeply involved with them, has been for a long time, and they do events all the time that make sense. It just felt like a good fit.
I would love to help you out if there's anything I can do, like a concert or anything like that.
I think that would be great. It might be
Maybe
able to.
Jesse Malin and I could do it.
We would love to have you, and that might be able to broaden the type of people that get drawn to City Harvest.
I would love to.
It'd be a great fit.
I mean, seriously.
Chefs and music, man. It's a really good fit.
And then we could like take that into like an episode of Chopped where I go against Liam Gallagher.
That's who you want to take on? I have a feeling, I doubt that Liam Gallagher can cook worth a damn.
That would be a genius episode though.
You need 2 more. So who are the other 2 going to be?
Let's get Jesse. Well,
Jesse Malin.
we need who else should we get?
I don't know who would be good for that.
Did you see the Jacob Dylan documentary? The new one that just came out with called Echo in the Canyon?
No, but I learned about it from your social feed.
Yeah, it's great.
It's good?
It's great. It's really, really good. Yeah.
I should check it out.
Yeah.
I got about 5 movies I need to hunt down, actually.
What? Which ones?
We had a guest judge on named Eduardo Garcia, who was once hiking in the woods, and I think he might have been hunting too. He looked down and saw a bear, a no longer alive bear on the ground, and he was going to take one of its claws, and he touched the bear and was immediately zapped with like 3,400 volts of electricity, because that's what killed the bear. The bear had fallen on a live electrical wire somehow, and Eduardo lost his arm and now has an artificial arm, but he survived. This should have killed him.
Why did it just destroy his arm?
He just got really lucky somehow. I
so
think he
just
must have
freaked out the arm and then stopped.
He said it just fried his whole arm.
Weird.
And they made a documentary about his story, because it's his struggle to survive that and get back to life, and he's lucky it was his left arm because he's right-handed. So he probably had the knife in his right hand, and he was reaching down to grab the claw with his left, and that's when he got zapped. He's lucky to be alive.
What's it called?
It's called. I know what it's called. It Charged.
Smart name.
Right? And there were a couple. I mean, that's
man.
Can you imagine? I mean,
Dude, that's crazy.
that's gotta hurt.
That reminds me of the what's his name? That one movie about the guy who got mauled by a bear.
Oh,
Werner Herzog.
Yeah.
I forget what it's
It
called.
also makes me think of what was the one that John Krakauer did about the kid who hiked into the wilderness in Alaska and he was
Into the Wild?
or was it there was Into Thin Air,
And there's that Leonardo DiCaprio one.
and the kid ended up dying out there only because he made the mistake of eating the wrong root. He ate this root.
That's Into the Wild.
That's
I think.
Into the
Into
Wild.
the Wild,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're right.
Yeah. Eddie Vedder did the soundtrack.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
it was a big movie.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I think it was. Good book.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. You know what? And one thing about
How'd you hear about this Charged? It's
Wh-
weird because it goes with your T-shirt.
right? Yeah, exactly. This
Yeah.
is a good shirt to wear for that.
Yeah.
Because he was a guest judge on Chopped.
Oh.
And I'm hoping he'll be part of a regular rotation. He's based out of Montana. He has a line of sauces and rubs. But he's a great guy. A great judge. He did a fantastic job. And he brought it up. I didn't ask about his arm. I wasn't going to bother him about it, but it came up.
Wow. I
I mean, he's got a hook. He has an actual hook. I'm sure you've seen those.
yeah.
And he's quite. It's interesting even just to watch somebody. How do you use utensils? How do you
Yeah.
use cutlery when you have one when you're using one of those? He's quite dexterous with it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's wild. So, the moral of the story. I mean, if I saw a dead bear, I don't think I'd want to touch it at all. But moral of the story: be careful when you're. My luck would be that it would have just been asleep and it would roar back to life and it would all be over.
Did you ever get into hunting or anything like
No.
that?
No, I when I was a kid, I shot a sparrow, overwhelmed with guilt. I'm not the guy for that.
Because you had BB guns.
Yes, in the Indiana woods. I'm not interested in hunting. I wouldn't mind fishing, and I've done that. I don't want to shoot something beautiful. I do eat meat. I participate in that cycle of bloodshed, but I don't want to do the shedding.
There's no way around bloodshed. Even if you're a vegan, with the crops and stuff are going to kill small animals and stuff like that, right? When they
I guess you could argue that that's inadvertent, but yeah, it's going to happen.
right.
Yeah.
There's no cruelty-free existence.
And there's also the deliciousness of eating. I don't have any, I don't limit myself other than I don't really have a special interest in as I said, in desserts and really per se. I mean, if they're amazing, I'm certainly happy to eat them.
I hope they don't give you a dessert show on the Food
We're
Network.
actually we've actually started doing one already, a sweets version of Chopped.
Really? Like a not chopped, but a different version?
No, it is Chopped, but it's a sweet. It's like a Chopped sweets sensation, or something. It's just that's another theme that we're
another theme.
imposing the Chopped rubric on. We did I think we did like 12 of those, and people like them.
Yeah.
I mean, the network liked them. I'm not sure if the audience has seen it yet.
What other movies are you going to see? Did you see the Elton John one?
I want to see the Elton John one. I just watched most of the Queen one on my flight home from Monterey, which I know it's not I know technically that it's not a good movie, but I still liked it because I love those rock star stories. They're so impossible.
It's fun.
It's fun, and I love the music.
What do you mean impossible?
Well, I mean, it's just you can't just become a rock star, but it's a really fun dream to have. I think that anybody to me, the idea of it doesn't even need to be like Wembley. Just if you can sing your lyrics that were once, as Tweety once wrote, what was yours is now everyone's.
Right.
And can you imagine? I'm sure you can imagine what it's to me. Imagining doing something so personal and then giving it to people and have them sing those lyrics back to you while you're performing has got to be the biggest rush in the world, I think.
Yeah.
And
Is it, Joe?
Yeah, it's awesome when that happens. You know, the times that's happened to me, it's been pretty wonderful.
I think that
Yeah.
would be amazing.
Yeah. It's great. It's, you know, I love getting to, like, you know, even just getting to release this music I'm releasing right now and just getting the feedback I've been getting off of just the song I released yesterday is like
How are people responding?
so good.
I saw some comments.
Really
People,
nice vibes, you know, and it's just like, you know, that is gratifying and it's exciting. You know,
I like it. You have so much range because you can do a really tender ballad like "Honey in the Moon," probably your one of your first recognized songs that a lot of people heard, and that got used in TV shows and stuff. Did it?
tons of them, yeah. American Wedding and
You also have a sound that I think might have some kinship with Noel Gallagher. That when you do that more like propulsive stuff,
yeah, definitely.
There's
and Liam, yeah,
and the use of some electronics, but still mostly guitar driven.
Yeah, it's I got an eclectic thing. I mean, I've got, you know, getting signed to Peter Gabriel's label, I think also helped bring that out because, you know, coming from the sort of very American vibe and like punk rock vibe, and then, you know, to get signed to Peter Gabriel's label in the mid '90s and get introduced to the fact that like drum machines are cool and it's okay, and so just to be open-minded about electronic music right when I started learning to make professional records, you know, with that sort of aesthetic and like getting to like, you know, like Brian Eno sang on my first album, which is just crazy.
That's too crazy.
Yeah, it's just too crazy. Like Brian Eno sang with Peter Gabriel on on one of my songs on my first record. It's the only song they're singing together on.
How did this happen in the first place? The whole Peter Gabriel connection.
Yeah, just because I gave a demo tape to somebody in an AA meeting, a cassette, like just a friend. You know, like it was and he sent it to he gave it to somebody else who worked at Capricorn Records, and then that guy sent it to a guy in New York, and then that guy gave it to Peter Gabriel, and Peter Gabriel took it on an airplane ride and then called me when he got off the plane and said, I want to sign you to my label.
Cool. That's so awesome.
It was like that, you know. But that's why I'm interested in stories about like how you got to where you got to, and like how much you think you manifested the reality through like visualization, or like how I think it's interesting to figure out how people find their station in life, and particularly when they do like arrive at like interesting peaks like you have.
Well, you know, I think your
know?
story, the story of your getting connected to Peter Gabriel, which obviously took such a roundabout, incredible series of coincidences for it to have happened, and for him to respond the way he did to your work. I guess since you bring it up, it's pretty improbable that first show ever happened. But it's also true that I really did hustle to get the job.
Exactly.
I canceled vacations. I flew down. I was in Portland, Maine, at a beach house with friends.
Yeah.
And I got a flight down to do another callback. I mean, I moved from Chicago to New York to do that show.
Right.
And, you know, got rid of everything because you have to when you move to New York.
Yeah.
So there certainly was a lot of effort.
Yeah.
I definitely hustled.
And there must have been a lot of self-belief for you to be able to invest in that kind of risk in yourself. And that self-belief came from somewhere.
I mean, part of it is just that, first, we both loved the idea of living here again. I mean, Chicago's great, but
Because you were with Barry already then.
I was.
Okay, so
And
he was supportive
He was
too.
on board 100%.
Did he have to give up anything?
All we had to give up was just some possessions that you would have in a larger house. I mean, we have a pretty good-sized place here. We certainly have a big house by New York standards, so we're very fortunate. And we've acquired back some of those things that we got rid of, like pianos, for example, just to have
got
a
a
chance.
piano?
I have a piano.
Nice.
Yeah. And I need to play it more. But you can't play a piano if you don't have one.
Yeah.
But no, to your point, I think I must have had some sense that this was going to pan out somehow. I certainly had the sense that something needed to. And it gave Barry the opportunity to open his business and do what he wanted to do. I mean, we're getting, you know, I must have had some sense that this was the way to go.
Why do you think it needed to?
Well, it needed to because you have to. This place is expensive.
Yeah, but your life could have stayed small in a different place. In other words,
yeah,
you needed it to be here and be bigger.
I mean, I don't know.
And where do you think that came from?
I don't know. I maybe the key is that I didn't necessarily need it to be bigger, but it just happened, and I roll with it easily and comfortably, and I love my coworkers. We have the team that makes this show is almost 80% of those people have been here the whole time. Camera operators that I've absolutely grown up with, they know the shots. They don't even. They're always innovating and changing things, but it's great to work with people that you really like. Maybe I think talented creative people do flock together. Maybe it's the fact of, you know, finding people that you want to be creative with and not wanting to lose them.
Right.
I don't know. I can't take credit for having planned this thing. It's pretty unlikely to plan a career like that. But when the opportunity presented itself, I definitely jumped on it for sure. So there must have been some kind of drive.
Do you have like any kind of like morning ritual, health regiment? Like I'm thinking about like mental health. Did you ever have any mental health issues, or have you just been like, has life been kind of easy in that regard? Have you had to overcome anything?
Every once in a while, we've had people compete on Chopped whose mother dragged them through the jungles of Cambodia to escape Pol Pot,
right.
And then who had nothing, who managed to emigrate all the way to the United States, who now have 10 restaurants and are in Oliver Stone movies and stuff. Did I have it easy? Oh my God! I mean, I hear stories from people who I think, my God, the things that you had to do to get this life, and I do feel guilty. I feel like this life has been handed to me. I had amazing parents. I've never been hungry. I right now I drink too much probably. I don't know. I don't feel like I have a lot of demons. I show up for work on time. I do the job. I edit the script every day, heavily, angrily. I don't feel like I've had to suffer a lot, which makes me concerned that that's looming around the corner.
Well,
hopefully not.
Yeah, I'm just trying to dig to see where's the shadow?
Yeah.
Where's the Ted Allen shadow?
No, I think you should.
Mean? Well, you did say you drink too much.
Yeah, I mean that's possible.
That's a pretty big one. Yeah, I mean, if I've certainly grappled with that. I haven't had a drink in over 3 years, which I don't miss it. I like being clear-headed in that way.
I know what you mean.
Because it's painful to just the booze is painful.
It's super bad for you.
It just hurts. If it didn't hurt, it'd be one thing, but there doesn't have to be a shadow. We don't have to go in there. I'm just like looking for it.
I just don't want to sound like I'm taking anything for granted. I'm really not. I work pretty hard when I'm working. And the time that I have off from Chopped, I got plenty to do. I'll do other outside work. Just taking care of my house is a constant project because it's old. And then I've got family and pets and travel I want to do, and so I'll keep myself busy. Yeah. Maybe I'll write a musical. I have an idea for one.
What is it?
I can't tell you.
I want to write a musical.
You would be much better at it. You want to write it with me?
Yeah, I got my idea is for the Ballad of Boogie Christ. It's got the name.
It's got the name.
That's a musical already.
Yeah, it is. It already is one.
That was a big. I have a question for you on that cassette with Peter Gabriel.
I'm sorry. You can start asking a bunch of questions again. I feel guilty.
Well, I have a question for him, and I have a question for you. For you, is that cassette for Peter Gabriel? You remember what songs were on it, and was there a phone number on the cassette? And how
there was a phone number on the cassette.
So you picked up the phone and what?
No, he left a message.
Oh, he left a message.
So you played the message, and do you remember what he said?
Oh yeah, I just played it over and over and over again.
Of course you would.
So he called your house.
He called my I called my house. It was a landline then.
So it was like, oh hello, it's Peter Gabriel. I've just listened to your cassette.
Yeah,
it was riveting.
It was like, oh yeah, I want to talk to you about signing to my label, Real World, and
Left the phone number.
Yeah,
that would be.
Okay.
Or said he was going to call back or something like that.
And then did you call him back, or did
no? And then he called
you?
back, and then I sent another tape, and then it was like a month before I heard from him again. And I thought, okay, that was encouraging, but obviously I've blown it. And then they turned out that they really liked the other tape too.
What was on the other tape?
Oh, I don't remember.
Just a few more other songs?
Like 10 more songs. I was writing so many songs then,
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And that's gotten you together with a lot of other people. You work with so many other musicians that I admire.
Yeah, like Jeff Ament.
I was particularly the REM crowd.
Oh, yeah.
That was an important band for me.
Yeah. What's your favorite REM record?
Not the same one that most people choose. For me, Fables of the Reconstruction kind of was a big one.
Huh.
I really like Feeling Gravity's Pull. There are several songs on that album.
Yeah.
Your reaction suggests to me that I was correct. I don't think most people say Murmur or.
I go with Automatic for the people.
Automatic.
Sorry.
Mine's Reckoning.
And that was the first one, wasn't it?
No, that's the second one. Murmur's the first one.
That's a seminal band for me. I saw them when I was at Purdue as an undergrad. We had this big music hall that seats 4,000 people, and I remember Michael wearing a dress, like a women's Army Corps dress.
Right.
Which I thought was, there's been a lot of that in rock and roll over the years, but, and now he's very involved with, some of these hunger charities as well.
Right.
So I go to the Can Do Awards. I sat right next to him.
I've been at those before. I think I've done a painting or something for them.
That's where I saw you perform.
Yeah.
You played.
I played at one of those.
And I think you were playing with, maybe it was Mills.
Mills, yeah.
I think that's where I got into you, when I saw you live.
That's interesting.
Because I was trying to remember, it's hard to remember that with it's been a long time.
Yeah.
But I can see that night. I remember that night.
Yeah.
Everything was orange. The Can Do Awards are always, that's their color.
Yeah.
But now it's funny just because of Michael Stipe had lots of high-level chef connections, and he would show up at these things. I've met him a couple times. You're probably friends with him.
Yeah, I am friends with him. We should get him on the Chopped Musician competition.
Yeah, I think that.
I wonder if he'd do it.
Now I doubt it because he's shy, and he's a vegetarian, isn't he?
No.
Oh, he's not?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
I've met him and his partner at the time.
Thomas.
Yeah. At Above the Spotted Pig.
Mm-hmm.
A place that has become somewhat
yeah, I know.
Notorious now.
I'm like veering away from talking about certain things.
Me too. You'll pardon the expression. No, and I know we're not joking about
right.
that. It's
exactly.
Just not where we need to go.
Yeah. Hey, start asking more questions. Why'd you get all quiet?
The only question I had for Ted, you said you edit the script for Chop?
Mm-hmm.
It's scripted, huh?
It's different every time. Minor variations, and then it's different if I have to talk about if it's a holiday episode, if it's a Thanksgiving episode, if it's a 5-part tournament where we have, like one time we've frequently done 5-part tournaments with well-known people, or some people like Dweezil Zappa, and we had Johnny Weir, the figure skater, on. We've had comedians and actors and And the fans dig those, and they're always fun. And there are lots of people in the arts that also really are interested in food. Tons, of course. It shouldn't be surprising at all. And so all that
is an art. The food is the art.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So some people prefer to call it a craft, but I don't know that this distinction matters much to me. It's obviously creative.
Arts and crafts. Is there a difference between those two things?
I guess technically,
I guess a craft is something you can use in the real world, and an art is just like super abstract, whatever.
yeah, art. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
useless. Art is useless.
Useless in the best possible way.
Right. Art
Making
to-
a sofa that definitely is
craft.
Is craft.
Making a sofa is craft. Putting a picture of a sofa on a wall is art.
Exactly. So if you
I'm
cook,
glad we've clarified that.
so maybe if you cook food but just let it rot in a lucite box.
That's art. That's Damien.
art.
That's some Damien Hirst
That's some
type
Damien
shit.
Hirst shit, yo. I really like him for some reason.
He's great. He's a genius artist.
He's a genius art. He certainly knows how to monetize that stuff.
He's great.
I want to see that. They put.
Hey, we should go to I need to go see that Met guitar show.
Oh my God, so do I.
You want to go see
I
that?
have a friend who works at the Met that
Let's go
reminded
see
me.
that.
Totally, should have done that today.
I definitely want to do that.
I'm
You want to go see that?
Yeah, I've been hearing.
I'm
a
told
lot
that it's
about it.
really, really well done.
I heard
Yeah.
Jacob Dylan told me to go see it. He's like, it's like the Hard Rock. He said it's the Hard Rock Cafe, but like you won't see Bret Michaels' guitar on the wall, which is hysterical.
Come on. I love Brett.
He said it's all like it's all.
Yeah,
hot
Eddie-
cloth.
Eddie's
I know,
guitar
it
is
is funny
there.
as hell.
I think there's a Hendrix guitar.
Yeah, we got to go see that.
Yeah, as King fanboy here for sure, I totally have to see that.
Hey, listen, I got to wrap this up because I got to rehearse
Yeah.
downstairs, and it's 2:40 now.
I can dig. Well,
And
it's
plus, we've been on this for what, like an hour and a half at least,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
cool. Well, thank
Are
you.
you mad at me for
No,
shutting you down that
I
one
gotta
time?
take Carmen to piano class in Brooklyn.
I gotta go to the bathroom. So
Yeah, it's perfect. So let's just
good
pick
timing for me.
a dragon card.
yeah, dragon card and
to
where,
close this out.
Close this out with a
And-
dragon card.
and Ted should tell people where they can follow
yeah,
him
and Ted
online.
get like
Oh, yeah,
give all your
sure.
socials and everything.
Okay, well you can follow me at on Twitter or Facebook and Instagram at the Ted Allen.
What's your favorite social media?
I use Twitter and Instagram the most.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I like
'Cause
Instagram.
I like it too.
I'm starting to like Twitter again.
I guess I'm more. I mean, you really need to have a visual for either one. Mandatory for Instagram, obviously. I think more artistic people seem to like Instagram than Twitter. To me, Twitter is sort of like a marketing kind of vibe.
I don't do Twitter.
And you may.
I'm getting onto it now.
I'm
More.
getting.
Too much to read.
It's just its own self-contained little microsphere, and there are so many millions of people who never look at it ever.
Yeah.
But there are then quite a few people who do. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But my handle on all of those is the Ted Allen. I figured out that I could get, and I think it's really useful to have the same handle.
That's good.
On multiple-
I should have done that because I did Joseph_Arthur on.
You might be able to still do it. And another thing you can do, my friend Peter, his handle is Hey 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 Peter Ross, which is kind of fun too.
Yeah.
If you can't get the.
It's too late for that.
All right, I'm reading mine. You go first.
All right. So what are these cards? These are dragon cards.
Yeah.
Okay. I got a black dragon from Saturn, which brings you wisdom through spiritual discipline. Concentrate. Focus on your ultimate vision. Congratulate yourself. You've passed a test.
I feel
Yay
like,
me.
I feel like that summarizes your being on our podcast.
Yeah, I passed the podcast test. I got the seal of approval from the black dragon from Saturn, dude. This is the best card of the day.
It's the dragon deck never disappoints.
Yeah. Okay, that's my favorite deck.
All right, mine is Source Dragon attunes you to the infinite. Be still in the silence. Magic can happen. Be in the moment.
You know, up until the be in the moment, that sounds like one of your songs. You
Yeah, I
should
know.
like put that to music.
Maybe I should write a whole song based on this dragon deck.
I think you should.
I think I will.
Rock on, man.
What'd you get?
I don't like any of the ones I picked. That's why I haven't read any of them. But this is Orange Gold Dragon.
You
from-
always get that.
from opens you to knowledge for the new golden age.
We've gotten that one before.
That's okay. And this other one that I never read was let go, walk away from this situation in order to resolve it.
Oh. Well, I'm glad you didn't go, man.
Yeah,
I'm glad you didn't go too. Are you mad at me, Ehud?
No, we're all good. The last question Carmen had for Ted was,
Oh, yes.
Oh, it should come from Carmen, the last question.
What is your favorite food to eat on Chopped? Like what favorite thing?
Well, I don't actually eat the food on Chopped, but my favorite food to eat is pizza. Number one. You too?
Yeah.
Pizza's the best. That's why we live in New York City.
Awesome.
For the pizza.
It's not really keto friendly.
Oh, the cheese is a problem? Oh, no.
No, cheese
is fine.
Cheese is
Bread.
fine,
It's
dude.
the crust that's the
I eat a
problem.
whole brick of cheese just for kicks walking down the street.
Right on.
Yeah.
Get on with your bad self, Joseph.
Ted Allen, thank you
Ted,
so
thank
much.
you, Ted.
Thank you
You're
for
the best,
having me.
man. Appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Appreciate it.
Hi, this is Joseph Arthur. Thanks for checking out Come to Where I'm From. Please support us on Patreon, patreon.com/come to where I'm from. We are an independent podcast, and any contributions you can make are greatly appreciated.